guys, and welcome back to my channel. Do you know what? I'm changing it up a little bit because although I do love my background, I am getting so fed up of trying to green screen with a little bit of light. It just does not work, so just bear with me 1 minute. And I'm gonna just get rid of that. Okay? Yeah, I have not an amazing background, but I don't really care because surely it's better than the wobbles of the green screen. Half my head chopped off, half my hair gone. It's driving me nutty, okay? So, if you don't like it, then my apologies. I'm going to try it out, and you can let me know what you think. I don't think it's that bad anyway. So, let's just get into the case of today, and it is the case of a missing person called Hannah Williams. Well, she was missing. No, sorry, it's a solved murder. Yeah, she went missing, and then sadly her body was found. So let's jump right in. Hannah Williams was born in May of 1986. Now, shortly after this occurred, her mother and father did actually split up, sadly, and Bernadette was her mother's name, which that's who she would end up continuing to live with. And they lived in Dartford in England. Now, Hannah was actually 14 years old when she went missing. She came from, obviously, a broken household. There wasn't the mother and father. There was sort of more, I'm not entirely sure whether it was more middle class or like lower class, but obviously money was tight, you know, just standard normal people. They struggled, but they both loved each other so much. They had their issues, like everyone does. Just a normal little family. Hannah absolutely loved fashion, so she would go, like I said, money was tight, so she couldn't always afford these new clothes, but she would go window shopping, and she really, really loved to do that. So that is what she would do as like a pastime. It's like a hobby. She enjoyed going to the local stores, the weekly market, things like that, and just looking around, and she didn't necessarily have to buy anything. She just really enjoyed going out and having a look. But it wasn't any different on this day when, let me just do that. On this day when Hannah told her mum that she was doing the same. It was the 21st of April 2001, and she told her mum that she was going to go out and do window shopping. That's what she went out and did. Bernadette didn't really think anything was wrong. It was normal for Hannah to do this, and so she said their goodbyes to each other, and Hannah left. The problem was, in the evening, Hannah didn't come home, and obviously that really worried her mother. More and more time passed, hours go by, and Bernadette is getting, she is so worried about Hannah, as she would be. She's only 14 years old, and so she does decide to report her daughter as missing. Now, I have heard that the police pretty much didn't really take Hannah going missing seriously because there was a bit of sort of a troubled past, in a sense, and they just kind of thought she'd ran away. I'm not entirely sure why that is. Whether Hannah had done it previously or something like that, I'm not sure, but she was happy. She was quite content in her life. She loved her mum. There was no reason for her to run away, and her mother knew that she had not run away, and yet the police just assumed that that was the case. So, in this crucial time when you should be looking for a missing child, despite the fact that even if she has run away, she's 14. They should have been out looking for her no matter what. She's 14 years old. Go and look for her. She's missing, whether it be from her own accord or not. She's not old enough to be on her own. So why the frick when they're not looking for her? It's really, really annoying. But yeah, they just figured that she'd turn back up, kind of thing. But she didn't. Despite the police not really taking it very seriously straight away, well, neither did the media. She did not get media coverage, hardly anything. There's hardly anything out there about Hannah around the time she went missing, especially. And the really annoying thing about this is that there was another girl who went missing. I'm not sure if it's the same area or a different area, but around the same age as Hannah, who got tons of media coverage. But they're saying that it's a lot of this other girl had both parents that she was living with. She was from more of a middle-class, well-supported background. She did really well in school. All of this stuff that the media think will get them more people to watch and more people to engage. So they picked this young girl's story and not Hannah's, because Hannah was more from a broken home. You know, she didn't fit like the media criteria, which is just really annoying, and it's kind of like not racism, but a form of whatever ism against somebody who they deem not fit to be all over the news, I guess. This happens quite a lot, and it's really, really frustrating. It even happens today. Like, a couple of years ago, the Gary Petito case, that was absolutely humongous. And there are so many other people that actually went missing around the same time. They did not get the media coverage, or any media coverage pretty much. And yet, like, Gabby was all over the news all of the time. And I'm not saying that that shouldn't be the case, because I'm thankful that Gabby Petito was all over the news. Obviously, you want them to be all over the news, but it should be all the case across the board. They should all get the media coverage, because who knows, like, it could help out in the case. I mean, in the end, like, somebody actually came forward because they'd seen the van, and that ended up leading to find, sadly, Gabby's body at that point. But do you know what I mean? The media is really important in these cases, and they should just all get the coverage that they deserve, basically. And I know it's like, if there's a ton of people going missing, it's impossible, but surely there's some way of doing something along the lines of just little snippets of it. Everyone just deserves media coverage, at least in my opinion anyway. I'm going to shut up about that now because, yeah. I don't think that they allowed Bernadette to do a plea either, because she went in the media. They didn't allow her to do like a public plea, which can be vital in these cases, especially for finding missing children, and yet she didn't get to do that either. So that probably makes you as angry as it made me, because basically Bernadette was doing it all by herself. She was out putting missing persons posters up for her kid. The police weren't really doing out to help, and it's just so annoying. Like, ugh. And come on then. This is Princess. And also, just Hannah's case didn't really go anywhere. They did have a small team of people on it. The police, they didn't just not ever look for her at all, but it wasn't on a grandiose scale kind of thing. So they had like a little team who was looking into Hannah's case, but they didn't hear anything on Hannah for like over a year. Well, I don't actually know if it was over a year. Just less than a year, I think. March of 2002. Yeah, it was the 15th of March 2002. And this dig was going on to try and search for the remains of another missing girl. Not Hannah, just not Hannah at all. And they did actually find a female human remains, very badly decomposed, obviously. But it wasn't the girl that they were actually looking for. So now they had this body, and they were like, well, who the heck is it, basically? So there she goes. So they tried to do dental records, but that didn't match anyone. I believe Hannah's dental records were not up to date, so this is why it didn't actually match. And Bernadette is sat at home watching the news, just normal, and this story comes up about this body that they have found, and they begin to describe the clothing that this girl is wearing. Bernadette instantly knows that that is her daughter. That is Hannah. And the police didn't even have a clue. The police that found it didn't have a slightest who this person was. They said that it was a female wearing a black sleeveless top with like a gold leaf pattern over the front of it under a denim jacket. And that this girl had leather boots on too. So that is what, Hannah was last known to be wearing. The police officers, the small aspect of police officers that were actually working on Hannah's case, knew that this was Hannah. Obviously, Bernadette goes running out and eventually tells the police, she goes to the police station to tell the police that that is her daughter. And it would eventually be confirmed by DNA because, they couldn't do the dental records. The remains were just so decomposed at that point. Obviously, it's like a year later. So yeah, the DNA test came back and it was that of Hannah Williams. Now, 8 days after Hannah's body was found, an arrest was made. But this wasn't actually made public because there was like a a media blackout or something along those lines. I don't really know the specifics because I can't really remember it, to be honest. Nobody actually knew about this arrest at the time of the arrest happening, pretty much. Well, probably Bernadette did because it was her daughter, but I mean, like, newsworthy kind of thing. Not newsworthy, you know what I mean. But it's absolutely devastating, which that Bernadette actually found out that her daughter was no longer alive by just watching the news. It wasn't a personal phone call. It wasn't a knock on the door saying we found some remains. It was her literally sat down watching the telly and finding out that that was her daughter's remains. It is beyond devastating that she had to find out that way. But like I said, this is the case with no media attention and things like that. You know, they have no idea who her. And that is well annoying. And just so devastating for Bernadette. And for Hannah's friends and family. Anyway, this arrest, it was of a man called Robert Howard. Robert had met Hannah through... Now, I might get this wrong. His ex-girlfriend was now dating him, I think. So obviously his ex knew Hannah, and she introduced her to Robert. Little did she know, Robert had a very colourful, and colourful is just not even a word I should be using, very disgusting history with the police. He has a list of crimes as long as your freaking arm, and a lot of them are to do with underage girls. You know, I'm not going to get into it because it's just horrific. Nobody knew about this though. You know, she didn't know that when she introduced him to Hannah. And basically, he had rang Hannah that afternoon, lured her out, and Hannah had no idea how dangerous he was. Nobody really did, because at the time, like, he committed his crimes. The sex offenders list was not a thing. And so he was never put on that. Nobody had a clue. Nobody had a clue. So he lured her to his house. He then abducted her, assaulted her, and eventually strangled her with this blue rope. And that was actually found still around her neck, I believe, when they found her body. Now, he was caught, thank goodness. Nearly said the D word then. And he was sentenced to life imprisonment. He was found guilty, you know. But they suspect that he actually had a lot more victims than he would ever let on. They genuinely think that he's could have been connected to like 15 missing girls, and that, you know, he could have murdered and assaulted those girls as well. Sadly, it's something that they would never find out, because on the 2nd of October in 2015, Robert actually passed away in prison. He was 71 years old. He had never admitted to anything else. Probably didn't even admit to Hannah, because he actually went on trial, so I'm guessing he pled not guilty. Otherwise, there's not normally a trial. So yeah, it's just really annoying. Like, there could be so many more girls out there that he did this to, and they will never ever know now. Well, maybe if he left some DNA or something and they ever found the bodies, but, you know, he's no longer with us, so he can't give the information himself. Not that that's to say that he ever would have, because he probably wouldn't have. But yeah, what happens to Hannah absolutely crushes your soul, especially when you hear that she just literally they thought she was a runaway, and she genuinely was not. She genuinely had been abducted and murdered, and when they found the body, didn't even have a clue. It's just right, okay, it really, really makes me mad. But I'm just going to leave it there. She went out window shopping, for goodness sake, and never came home. Life was completely, just utterly snatched away from her. So yeah, that is the end of the case of Hannah Williams. If you guys have enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for similar content. But yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.